Sandy here. Welcome to my channel and happy Easter weekend. This morning I came into my craft room to edit some videos, some tutorial clips on my last few projects I've done for Country Craft Creations, and I saw this beautiful Blossoms in Springtown paper collection from Country Craft Creations that I haven't used yet, and I decided to do a quick little Easter project. So I'm going to show you this one here in just a few minutes, and I will show you what I've used for it, and then I'll do a quick tutorial for you on that as a little bonus project for Easter. So stay tuned. To make this little Easter spring pocket waterfall folio, I used 2 sheets of the, let's see what it's called, light blue My Colors Blue Mist from My Colors, or you can use like white artisan or whatever. I've already got mine pre-cut, but I used the light blue here. And then I used a few sheets of the 12 by 12 Blossoms in Springtime by Country Craft Creations. I've already got mine cut to make this a little faster. And then I used 1 sheet of the green check from the Plaid Pumpkin Patch by Country Craft Creations that I've had for 100 years and been intending to use it. And I know that it went beautifully with this collection here. So this is all my pre-cut paper under here, but I want to show you this really quick. It has a tie closure. Now I'm going to change it up just a little bit, the one in the tutorial. I'm going to make these 2 flaps come together a little closer, so these ribbons pull in a little tighter, and then I'm going to make this 1/8 of an inch wider here, this little gusset spine here on the side. But this, I love how this turned out. So it's held closed with double ribbon, but you just untie this little flap here, that closure that opens up, and I'm calling this a pocket waterfall folio for Easter or spring. So the first one here has a little tag in it that pulls out, made with the beautiful Blossoms in Springtime paper with the little bunnies here on the paper. And I turned this sideways so that you could see the orientation of it, looking at it this way while it's in the pocket. This flips up. You could put photos in here, a couple of small photos. I have a belly band with 2 small photo mats underneath, made with the blue mist My Colors paper, the smooth. And then this one has a booklet in it here, so you could put photos inside in this. And so this is the green check from that pumpkin patch that I was telling you about. So this just slides in like that. Photos can go here. We have a tag. You can journal, put a photo. You can tuck photos in behind it. And then we have a photo mat here and area here on the back. So it doesn't hold a lot of photos, but it's something really quick you can put together, you know, in a morning, and it's really easy to do. And so let's go ahead and get started. So I did use the Blossoms in Springtime. I used the tags and the cut apart a sheet of each of those. Then I used, for the papers on this project here, I'm going to use the little carrots and the yellow dots, and this one here with the little buildings, the little church looking buildings, and this one with the little bunny rabbits, I think. So, and then I use again the green check here on the pumpkin patch, Plaid Pumpkin Patch collection. So I pre-cut everything, and I'll give you the measurements, and then we'll get this assembled really quick. So grab your scoreboard. From your cardstock or your My Colors, you're going to need to cut 1 piece for your top waterfall pocket that is 7.5 by 6. You're going to put your 7.5 in at the top, and we're going to score the 7.5 inch side at 1/2 inch, 3 3/4, and at 7. Set that aside. Then you need 1 for your middle waterfall that is 9 inches by 6. Oh, I forgot. On this one here, we'll go ahead and do it right now. Turn to your 6 inch side. I forgot, real important, and make a 1/2 inch score right there. I'm going to do that on this next one as well. Okay, so now take your 9 inch by 6, put your 9 inch at the top, score at a 1/2 inch, 4.5, and 8.5. And we're going to turn it to the 6-inch side, and you're going to score at a 1/2 inch. Next, for the bottom waterfall pocket, we're going to take a piece that is 11 inches by 6. We're going to score at 5 1/4 and at 10.5. Okay, and then turn and score on the 6-inch side, again at a 1/2 inch. For the closure pieces, we need 2 that are 3.5 by 4.5. 3.5 by 4.5. You're going to turn it and you're going to score on your 3.5 inch side at a 1/2 inch. And at 7/8. Make that a little bit wider in there. So the same on this one, put your 3.5 in, score at a 1/2 inch. And at 7/8. Did I do that right? Didn't tell you right. Let me double check here. Yeah, 1/2 inch, and that's 7/8. So that gives me a little wider gusset than I had before. I had only a 1/4 inch, so now I have 3/8. Okay, so we'll set that aside and we can put our scoreboard away. Okay, so I have all my pattern paper and my decorative elements ready to go. I will give you the measurements as I'm assembling this. So let's take our little closure pieces first, and we're going to fold and burnish each score line. Get these out of the way. Give me some room here to work. So you burnish the score lines really well, and you're going to score it so that you have the 1/2 inch, which is your attachment, and then you have the 3/8, which is going to give you your little gusset for your folio. Okay, so you do that on both of them. And the My Colors in the smooth like this is really nice, thick cardstock, and it folds and holds its shape really, really well like that. So on this, I am going to round the corners. So I'm going to use a 1/2 inch on these 2 corners here. Okay, so we have one for the top and one for the bottom. Now, we're going to go ahead and put our pattern paper on. So I cut 4 for the closures that are 4 1/4 wide by 2 1/8 tall. And I wanted one with a little bunny, so I laid it out and planned it so that this image would kind of be in the center, and the rest are going to be the yellow dots. So this one's going to go on the front right here. So I'm going to round the 2 bottom corners, and then this is going to go in here. If you want it a little bit bigger with less of a margin, you could trim it down. This one's going to have more margin because I did make this a little wider in here. So I'm going to take my glue and go ahead and put this on. Now you don't need any magnets or anything, and we will punch the holes for the ribbon after we've well, we may go ahead and do those now. Let's see. Let me put this on. Let me center this right here. And then on the back side, I'm going to put the dot. So I'm going to go ahead and round just 2 corners on the one long side. I'm going to go ahead and put these in. Top ones. Let's go ahead and round the corners on these. I'm going to do 2 at once. flip this over so I can rub out where I slipped here on the scoring there. Make sure it doesn't show as much. So refold that, and then we'll put this one here. Now the reason I'm going to go ahead and punch the holes for the ribbon now is because I think it'll be easier for you to line up than waiting until after it's assembled. Okay, so got those. So it's going to be facing each other like that. So the rounded corners are the bottom. I'm going to take my crocodile in the biggest hole, and I'm just going to eyeball it and center it kind of in the middle of that flower. Punch all the way through with a crocodile. So now I have the holes for the ribbon, and they match up. Okay, so we can set that aside. So now we're going to work on the top pocket. So this is the one that is, let's see here, 7.5 by 6. So just looking at my notes, 7.5 by 6. So you've got your score lines. You're going to take your scissors. Now this is going to be, turn it this away. Let's see, thinking it's going to be the pocket. Okay, this top one we're going to fold back and burnish. Okay, and that's going to be our attachment. This is going to make our pocket. So we're going to cut away where the one we folded under, right along the score line. Let's see if you can see it right here. Let me fold it so you can see. Burnish that so we can see that score line. Because I want you to cut it where you need to cut it. From here to the middle score line. So you're just cutting that away. Make a real nice straight cut. To there. Then at that score line, we're going to make an angle cut to make a tab here. And then we'll make an angle cut here. And then miter cut here. Now this is going to be your pocket. So this is your flap for attaching. This is going to fold up to create a pocket. Just like this. So fold those score lines in. Burnish them to make your pocket. So your pocket is going to be open on the right side. You have a flap here, and this is going to close up right here. So I'm going to pattern this before I glue it together. So we have it laying out like this. We have a pocket tab here and a pocket tab here. This is going to be the front of the pocket. So I want that to be this little print here. So this is cut at 5 3/8 wide by 3 1/8 tall. And I'm going to go ahead and fit that in there. Checking to see, it might be a little bit tricky. Let me cut this 3 1/8. I need to trim off just a little bit. Okay, so to dry fit it, make sure it fits right. Go ahead and put the first piece on, and you have directional paper, so pay attention to your direction. You want the top of the direction going toward the tabs. So we're going to put it right here and burnish. So I don't have much of a margin on these, and that's what I want on this, like that. Now then, this is going to fold up like this. We're going to take our circle punch. I'm going to use the 1 inch, and I'm just going to go ahead in the center of this patterned panel that I just did and do a half punch right there. Okay, then this is going to go like this. You can either leave this blue in here, or you can cut about a 1 inch or 1.5 inch scraps of paper that you can glue. You don't need to cover the whole thing. It's not going to show. Right in there if you want that to be the pattern or the dot or whatever print you want. So I made this, like this one is about 3 inches long, about 1 inch tall. And I'm just going to glue it in here, leave a little bit of a margin. Okay, like that. Now I'm ready to put this pocket together. And so I'm going to put glue on this 1/2 inch tabs on both of them. And you bring it up, line them up, and burnish. And that makes that pocket there for the top waterfall. So this is your attachment hinge. You do not cut that or pattern that. So we set that one there. Let's do the next one. This is the next size, which is the, let me look at my notes. Your middle waterfall pocket is 9 inches by 6, so it has the same thing. We want this hinge, we want to fold this one here back, the top. So we have the 1/2 inch over here. And I'm going to fold that so you can see where to cut. So we have this one here. We're going to cut from the edge right along that 1/2 inch score line, straight as possible to the next score line in the middle. Do a mitered angle cut. Then where these two 1/2 inch lines intersect here, you got your little square here, go ahead and miter cut those, and then miter cut this one down here. So you've made these tabs. So this is going to fold back and burnish. Now what you want, again, is this is going to fold, oops, get them the wrong direction, this way. Want the opening to the right. Okay, so this is going to fold up here in the middle, and we're going to have a flap here and an opening to the right. So again, we're going to add our patterned paper. For this one, I forgot to put this one here on the back, so let's back up a little bit. I'm going to use the greenery, and so this size is cut the same. This is your 5 3/8 by 3 1/8. So I'm going to glue this on real quick. It's just easier while it's out of the, it's not all assembled. So let's pattern this. Okay. Looks good, and burnish. Okay, so now that one's finished. So set that one aside. So now we take this one here on the front. We're going to put this piece. This one I'm going to use this these buildings with the butterflies, and so this piece is cut 5 3/8 wide by 3 3/4 tall. So it's going to go on this piece here. Show you as I put it down. Make sure you're putting it the right direction. So if you have this folded up with your flap 1/2 inch at the top, then this is going to be where this one goes. So you want to make sure the image is on the front of the pocket. And burnish that down. And go ahead and do your notch here on the right side. It's opposite of your fold scores. Just put it in the center and punch. Okay, and then again, if you want a piece in here, so this one is about 3 5/8 tall by 1.5 wide. So I'm going to put this on the inside of the pocket. And again, if you want to just leave it the solid blue, the color of your cardstock, you can certainly do that. So put it in right here. Okay, kind of centering it so that when we assemble this, there we got that little bit of color in there. So now we go ahead with it open like this and put your glue on your flaps. Bring up your pocket and seal it. Burnish the end and the top. Okay, now we're going to put patterned paper, which I'm using this print here. On the back side, it's the same size, 5 3/8 by 3 1/8 tall. Okay, line that up. Well, I got to get it on straight. There we go. Okay, burnish, and then we'll set this aside. So this one is ready, and it has its flap like that. Okay, so for the last one, which is our biggest piece, which is the 11 by 6, and this one only has 2 score lines. Well, it has one on the side and has these 2. It doesn't have the other one here. So I'm just going to fold these up so I can show you where to cut. Okay, so this is the pocket part down here. So you have it looking like this. You have your 1/2 inch on the left and you have one on the bottom. You're going to cut away the one here on the left, just on the top part. I'm just going to cut it into there to the score line. I cut along the score line. Take that 1/2 inch off. Then do a miter right here, and then this little corner where they intersect, miter those, and then miter this side here. So now we have that. And so this is going to be burnished in. This one does not have a tab, because this is the last one. And it's going to fold up like this. Okay, so we have it one piece. We only needed one. I'm going to use the green check. This one is 5 3/8 wide by 5 1/8 tall. So we're going to glue this one down. And now we're ready to put this together. We're going to put the glue on the flaps. Oh, I forgot to put this other piece in. Same thing on these others here on the inside up here. Apologize. Go ahead and quickly put your glue on that. That's about 1.5 inches wide or 1 inch wide. And the height is the about 5 inches. So I'm just going to center it here with a little bit of a margin on the edge. Push that down. Then I seal up my pocket. Make sure you line everything up. Okay, and burnish. Okay, so we have our 3 pieces, and now we're ready to put these together. Okay, before we assemble, I forgot to punch the notch in this one. That's okay. It's big enough that you can do it after the fact. So just stick this in the center and punch. So now we have the notches in all these. Now we're going to assemble these together. So we're going to take your first one, the smallest one, shortest one. You're going to put glue on your 1/2 inch tab here. You do not have to angle cut or anything because it's going to show, and we're going to cover it with pattern paper. So you take the second one, the next size, and you're going to line up the fold of this hinge right along the fold of the hinge of the second pocket. So you'll make sure they're straight on the ends and they're lined up here at the top. You're going to gently flip it up and you're going to burnish. Now, because I patterned this one before attaching them together, whereas the other one I put them together and then added the pattern papers, I have cut these little strips that are 5 3/8 wide by 3/8 tall to kind of make a little border there, kind of like you do on a waterfall. So I'm going to put this one on, and I think it just adds a little extra separation and trim there. So I'm just going to line this up, center it there on that 1/2 inch, burnish it. So there's the top one. Okay, then you take this biggest one, flip this over so you can just see the 1/2 inch hinge or tab, and you put your glue on, making sure your notches, your pockets are opening to your right. You're going to put this one on top of the bigger one. We're going to make sure they're lined up on both ends and across the top. I'm going to open this up in here where we can see it, and we're going to burnish. Okay. That one needs to be scooted over just a tiny bit. I think I can still do it. Maybe I better leave it alone. It's lined up there, so now I'm going to leave it alone. Okay, so now we're going to lift this up and put a strip here. Now, these are the same color. If you want to reverse it and do a pattern, then you can do that. Let's see what I've got here. This is more of a white. I'm going to go ahead and put the white one on instead of the green check. You could do it in a different color if you wanted to. So we just burnish that on, and we have it looking like that. Make sure they're burnished. Now we're ready to put our little closures on. So this is the top one. It's going to fit right over that like that. We're going to center it so your glue goes on the inner part of just the 1/2 inch like that. So here's your back side, there's your glue. Look for the top of your little folio. Oops, wrong way. Turn it around. Okay, there we go. Center it and put just that 1/2 inch right back here. So that 3/8 works a lot better right there. We're going to burnish that. Make sure it stays on straight. Okay, and then we're going to take the second one, and it's going to match up here. I need to smooth that off right there. Had a little hang there. So this is going to fit like this. So the 1/2 inch on the back side, you put your glue on the 1/2 inch only, and we're going to put it on the back. And you want to make sure you're lining up your two pieces right there like that. So you kind of have to look at the one you've already put down, because it's not as thick on this bottom section, and center that with the fold along the bottom edge, and then it should match there. So that's good like that. Okay, so I'm going to burnish that. Then while I've got this flipped over, I cut a piece from the yellow dot that is 5 3/8 wide by 5 1/8 tall, and that's going to go over all of that on the back. And that's just going to fit right there. Line that up. And burnish. Okay, it's all assembled. So now all we have to do is our decorating and add our little tags. So it opens up like this. Then you have these little pocket waterfalls that flip up. Only 2 of them flip up. So now we're ready to do the decorating. So for inside this pocket, I have cut out the tags out one of the cut apart pages and just making sure it fits. Okay, so I'm using the little lamb on this one in the basket. So I have a piece of the green check that I cut out to 3 by 5, and I'm going to glue these 2 together, and then I'm going to cut the corners and round the bottom. So take my glue on the back side of, I'm just wanting to make this a little more sturdy, so I'm using the green check on the back, so that when you flip it over, you see the green check. So put your glue on the back of your tag and then line it up down here at the bottom and on the sides. Okay, burnish that. Take your scissors and do an angle cut here where the cut is on the tag. And this is a little bit longer, so I'm going to just trim this top off a little bit. Okay, and then we take a corner rounder and round the corners. I think I'll use a 1/4 inch. Okay, so there's the tag. And then I took this little circle here, and this is a little rabbit. And I am just going to glue it on the right side where the image is, on the back here, because I want the image facing out. So just glue it right there. And then I have a vintage button. Put some glue there, and I'm going to put that right there, and it still has the bit of fabric and some string in it. So glue it right there. So that's going to go in this pocket right here. And then the little tag with the bunny rabbit will fit over it like that. And so it peeks out some. That's what you want. You want it peeking out on the right-hand side like that. So that's for that pocket. Then we're going to flip it back. I'm just looking at my other one, make sure I don't miss anything. I'm going to leave this plain. You could put pictures there. So on this one, I had put the belly band, but it's going to cover that up. So I don't know if I'm going to put the belly band here at the top instead of over here, because I want to leave that pattern there. Now this is cut a little bit shorter, and that's okay. So this is cut, the belly band is 5 by 1.5. I'm just putting glue on each end. If you wanted it the length of this, you would cut it a little bit longer. But I'm just going to center it right there, nice and straight. Okay, and then on that, I had cut out these little ducklings in the basket, matted at some of the blue, and that is just going to glue right here in the center on the belly band. You don't want to seal it up, you just want this to attach to the front and the center like that. Okay, and then I cut 2 photo mats. Let's see here, where are they at? There they are. 2 3 by 3s. Let's see if they'll still fit back there. Yes, they'll just have to go in straight. Now I'm going to 1/4 inch round all 4 corners. This one's going to fit in here. Okay, and then I had cut a banner out of some of the pattern paper. It's about 1.5 inches wide by, let's see, did I do that right? Yeah, 1.5 inches wide by 2.5 tall, and I freehand cut that, and I'm just going to put glue on the back, on the top edge only, and just glue that, and the picture can be slipped underneath that banner. So I center that on there, and then that goes in behind there. Okay, so then this leaves this free here, and so we can go ahead and put what we're going to make for that. So that's going to be a booklet. For this one, I'm going to use the carrots on the inside. So the booklet is 6.5 wide by 5.25 tall, folded in half on your 6.5 width, and then I'm going to round the corners 1/4 inch on just the opening side, like that. And then we're going to, let me double check it, here on the front. Yeah, take a paper doily if you have one, and we're going to line it up and fold it in half, make it double thickness. Okay, and then in between we're going to add glue to seal it up, like around the edge here. Not a whole lot, just enough to kind of seal that up. So seal the doily up, and you want to let that dry there on the back because you don't want it sticky. And that's going to attach just the top edge, just on the back side. Put a line of glue. And then on the front, just attach it to the top edge of your booklet so that you can, this will fit over. That's why you don't want it glued all the way. And then I punched out one of the butterflies from the cut apart. And I'm going to put that right there on the center of the doily. Right there. Now, on the other one, I had put a little image here. If you want to, you can. I'm not going to on this one. I'm just going to slip this right into the pocket. Then I'm going to let this doily kind of catch over that, like that, so that it peeks out a bit on the end. Okay, so now we're to the next section here. Okay, we're going to make, let me put my other one up. Don't want to get them mixed up. We're going to make a photo mat. So I have cardstock 4 7/8 wide by 5 3/4 tall, and I am going to 1/2 inch round the corners. Then I cut a piece of pattern paper 4 7/8 wide by 5 3/4 tall. That's going to fit right there on the back. But I'm going to 1/2 inch around the corner, so this should fit exactly on the back side. So glue that, and you could use either side you wanted to. I'm going to use the blue dot because I thought it was pretty. So these should line up exactly because they were cut the same size. And you may have to re-round one of the corners because mine was kind of not right there. Okay. Okay, so there's the mat. Kind of got it off right here on the end, so I'm just going to trim that off. And repunch. Okay, so there's the pattern on the back. Then I cut this little duck image here. It's supposed to fit like that, so I've got it a little too tall, so I'm going to trim this off. Okay, see if that works. that makes it about 4 3/4 tall and 5 1/8 wide. Okay, so that fits right like that. I'm going to round the corners. I know it's blue on blue, but I love this little image of these little ducks. So that's what I want, and I'm putting it on this way so when you pull it out, you see the image in the right direction. I'm going to put my glue on. Okay. Line it up, center it the best you can. Da, 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 da. Okay, love how that looks. It's so cute. Now then, that is going to go in there. But before we do that, we're going to add some flowers. So I have this flower, and I'm going to go ahead and stick it in so I can see how far this sticks out. So that's going to go right there. So I'm going to glue on this bottom corner this big pink flower. And I'm going to have to let that dry. Now, this is kind of weird, I know. This one, I'm thinking about putting these blossoms in there too. But they need to be curled up. And then they'll glue down in there like that. So, I use art glitter glue for my flowers. That down. Okay, I'm going to let that dry. Now what I did for my other one, I know this is kind of weird, I'm going to pull this out, is I took my crocodile and the smallest holes. And I punched 2 holes. Okay, over here. Through the cardstock for string. Yeah, I know I have an extra hole there, but I'm going to cover that up. Okay, so I took at least a yard of the button string, and from the back, threaded it through. Back down just like I'm sewing. Back through. Okay, pull it, flip it over, poke this end back through the front. Hold it up so I can see the light. There we go. Back through the front. Pull that one to the front. Okay, and then we're going to pull this one to the front on the other hole. And we have 2 tails on the front. Pull this tight. Then I'm going to tie a knot. And then I'm going to tie a bow. Okay, so they want the tails to come down to the bottom here. And yeah, I have extra twine that I don't need, but I'm going to adjust this like that. Now where that other hole is, I didn't want, I'm going to glue this flower right there. Cover that up. And then I'm going to trim these. And so when we, just covering that hole up there. So when we put this in our pocket, this will stop. The flowers will be on the outer edge like that. And then the bows are there, okay? So now then, in here, I'm going to put a tag. So I have another tag that I cut out, and it's going to fit right here. I want it to flap down or up. I'm just thinking. So I'm going to fold it on the bottom edge. Make a little hinge, about 1/4 of an inch, right there. And then I'm going to put glue on the back side on that little hinge. And then I'm going to glue this to the bottom. That fits in there better, see? Okay, and then I have a circle I punched out of the green check. And I'm going to glue that right there in the center. Take my large hole punch. And right in the center of that circle, I'm going to punch a hole. Okay. And then I'm going to burnish this down. Now you can put a photo behind there or leave that like that. And then to decorate that up, I don't think that's enough. Take some more of my green button string because I want to wrap it around. Bring it to the front, so I've kind of double wrapped it, and then I'm just going to tie a knot. Right there, and tie another bow. Trim that off. Trim the tails off. And then I'm going to take a little bit of glue and put down where that knot is, where all that, and just kind of hold that and glue that all together. Okay, so now we have that like that. And we're almost done. So we bring this together. And then here on the bottom, I've already made from the cut apart on the pink, the spring has sprung, and I've glued it to some of the blue, My Colors, the blue mist, and then I cut it out, fussy cut it out, left a small border. So that's going to glue right there on this bottom tab or closure piece. So just center that right there. Now all we need to do is add our ribbon closure ties, and we will be finished with this. So let me get that done. So I cut out 2 pieces about 14 inches each. And I'm going to thread this through. Bring it in where they match on the top one here. The tails match, and you're going to tie a knot. Okay, so that's the top one. Pull it really tight. Do the same thing on the bottom. Thread it through. Pull that up. Kind of match. Tie a knot. Pull that tight and tie a knot. Okay, so then I'm going to tie a knot in the end of each one. About the same. trim that off on the ends. And I use tie knots so that if they fray on the end, it's okay. It's not going to be the whole ribbon. So same thing on this one. Okay, so there it is. They're ready to tie. So you can see real quick, we have our two closures that come together. We have this section here where we can put photo, and we have a tag that comes out. Super cute. That goes in there. Then we have our little photo mats here because we switched it. We put them up here instead of down here. And then we have this booklet that comes out. Photo can go here. We have a tag here that flips down, and we can put a photo in here. And then we have a photo mat here. We can put photo in the back. We could cover this up if we wanted to, but it's just so cute. I don't think I'm going to. And bring that in. Got the flower there on the edge, and that is your Easter spring waterfall pocket folio. Sorry, I had to think for a minute. And then, of course, we just bring these in together. I'm going to tie this. Let me tie it real quick. Using Country Crafts Creations Blossoms in Springtime and a sheet from the Pumpkin Plaid. Tie this in a knot here. Okay, and then we just pull the ribbons to the way you want them to look. Should have cut a little bit more on this. And I can always add more. I mean, I can change it, but I think that's cute. That's pretty. Okay, so that is the tutorial for this Easter weekend. I want to thank you so much for following along if you had the time. If not, you can always make this later. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Click the bell so you'll be notified of my next project. I'm going to get back to editing my videos, tutorials that projects I did last week, but I haven't done my tutorial videos yet for Country Craft Creations. And always check out countrycraftcreations.com for your paper crafting supplies. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.